You think people do not notice, but they do. Every room you enter, every conversation you start, every time you speak, you are leaking something. Not words, not ideas, energy. And it is telling everyone exactly who you are before you ever finish a sentence. You feel it when they look past you, when they forget your name 5 minutes after meeting you, when they seem warm to others but cold to you. You blame your appearance, your status, your circumstances. But the truth is harder than that. The truth is that you are radiating weakness, and people can smell it from across the room. They do not choose to ignore you. Their nervous systems simply dismiss you as irrelevant, as safe, as someone who does not matter. This book will not teach you tricks. It will not give you lines to memorize or postures to fake. It will teach you to stop apologizing with your presence, to stop begging for space you already own, to become the kind of person others feel without understanding why. You will not try harder, you will need less, and that shift, that internal reordering, will change every interaction you have for the rest of your life. If you are ready to stop being invisible, keep listening. If you want to stay comfortable, leave now. Chapter 1. The invisible signal you are always broadcasting. You walk through life believing that words matter most, that if you say the right thing, people will like you, that if you smile enough, laugh at the right moments, and avoid saying anything offensive, you will be accepted. You are wrong. People are not listening to your words. They are reading something much deeper. They are feeling you, and what they feel is not what you intend to project. It is what you actually are in that moment. Charisma is not a performance. It is a transmission. Every human being broadcasts an invisible signal. This signal carries the truth of your internal state. It reveals whether you are calm or desperate, centered or scattered, secure or seeking. And people respond to this signal faster than conscious thought. Their bodies know before their minds do. When you meet someone new, their nervous system is scanning you. Not your clothes, not your job title, not even your face. They are scanning your energy. Is it stable or unstable? Is it grounded or frantic? Does it pull them in or push them away? This process happens in less than 3 seconds. And in those 3 seconds, you have either gained weight in their reality or you have become invisible. Most people spend their entire lives unaware that they are leaking energy. They walk into rooms anxious. They speak from a place of need. They move with urgency. And all of that anxiety, need, and urgency pours out of them like a silent scream. Others feel it, and they recoil, not because they dislike you, but because your energy is asking something from them. It is reaching, it is pulling, it is trying to extract validation, approval, or attention, and people instinctively protect themselves from energy that demands. Think about the last time you met someone who wanted something from you. Maybe they needed your approval. Maybe they wanted you to like them. Maybe they were trying too hard to impress you. How did that feel? It felt exhausting. It felt heavy. It felt uncomfortable. You wanted to get away from them. Not because they were bad people, but because their energy was draining you. Now think about someone you met who did not need anything from you. Someone who was friendly but not desperate. Someone who engaged but did not cling. Someone who made you feel comfortable just being yourself. How did that feel? It felt light. It felt easy. It felt magnetic. You wanted to be around them more. This is the difference between leaking and radiating. Leaking is scattering your energy outward in search of something external. Radiating is holding your energy inward and letting it naturally attract. The first step toward radiance is awareness. You must become conscious of what you are transmitting, not what you think you are showing, but what is actually leaking from your body, your voice, your eyes. Sit with this question right now. When you walk into a room, what are you feeling inside? Are you hoping people will notice you? Are you worried they will judge you? Are you rehearsing what you will say? Are you scanning faces for approval? If the answer is yes to any of these, you are leaking. You are scattering your energy outward in a desperate bid for validation. And that desperation, no matter how subtle, is killing your presence. The solution is not to fake confidence. Fake confidence is just another form of leakage. It is desperation wearing a mask. The solution is to pull your energy back inward, to stop reaching for anything outside of yourself, to become so internally contained that people feel a gravitational pull toward you rather than a push away. This is not about being cold, it is about being whole. When you are whole, you do not need anything from others. And when you need nothing, you become magnetic. People sense that you are not trying to take from them. And that absence of demand creates space. Space for curiosity. Space for respect. Space for attraction. Here is a practice you can start immediately. Before your next social interaction, pause for 30 seconds. Close your eyes if you can. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the weight of your body. Notice your breath moving in and out. And ask yourself this question: what do I need from this interaction? If the answer is validation, approval, or attention, notice that. Do not judge it, just see it. Then consciously choose to need nothing. Tell yourself, I am complete as I am. I do not need this person to validate me. I do not need them to like me. I do not need anything from them. Then walk into the interaction with that energy. Watch what happens. You will feel different, and they will feel the difference too. But here is what you need to understand. Most people will never learn this. They will continue walking through life unconscious of the signal they broadcast. They will wonder why others do not respond to them, why conversations feel forced, why they are forgotten so quickly. And they will never realize that the problem is not external, it is internal. Your energy is the problem, and your energy is the solution. But awareness alone is not enough. You also need to understand something critical about first impressions. Why do people decide who you are so fast? Why does the first 3 seconds have so much weight? And why does trying so hard to make a good impression always backfire? That is what we explore next. Chapter 2. Why people decide who you are in seconds. The first few seconds of any interaction determine everything, not because people are shallow, but because the human brain is built for rapid threat assessment. When you meet someone, their subconscious mind is asking one question: is this person safe or dangerous? Not dangerous in a physical sense, dangerous in an energetic sense. Will this person drain me? Will they demand something from me? Will they destabilize my emotional state? If the answer is yes, they will instinctively create distance. If the answer is no, they will stay open. And all of this happens before a single word is exchanged. You have heard people talk about first impressions, but they misunderstand what a first impression is. It is not about looking good, it is about feeling right. People do not remember what you wore or what you said. They remember how you made them feel, and what makes someone feel good is not enthusiasm or effort. It is calm, it is groundedness. It is the sense that you are not pulling on them for anything. Think about the last time you met someone who had real presence, someone who walked into a room and everyone noticed without them saying a word. What was it about them? It was not volume, it was not charm, it was weight. They moved slowly, they spoke less, they did not rush to fill silence, and because of that, people leaned in. Their stillness created a vacuum, and vacuums pull. Contrast that with someone who tries too hard, someone who talks fast, who laughs too loud, who agrees with everything you say, who mirrors your energy in an obvious way. What do you feel around that person? You feel pressure, you feel their need, and you pull back, not consciously, but instinctively. Your nervous system detects the imbalance. It senses that this person wants something from you, and it protects you by creating emotional distance. This is the paradox of social dynamics. The more you try to be liked, the less likable you become. The more you perform, the less real you seem. And the less real you seem, the less people trust you. Effort kills magnetism, not because effort is bad, but because effort reveals insecurity. When you try hard to impress someone, you are admitting something. You are admitting that you believe they are above you, that their opinion of you matters more than your opinion of yourself. And people feel that admission. They feel the power dynamic shift. And once it shifts, it is almost impossible to reverse. There is a concept in social psychology called the frame. The frame is the invisible structure that determines who has power in an interaction. If you enter an interaction seeking approval, you have placed the other person above you in the frame. You have made them the judge and yourself the defendant. And once you do that, everything you say and do is filtered through that frame. Every joke you make is a bid for their approval. Every opinion you share is a test to see if they agree. Every pause you take is filled with anxiety about what they are thinking. This is exhausting for both of you. For you, because you are constantly monitoring and adjusting. For them, because they can feel your anxiety and it makes them uncomfortable. So what is the solution? You must slow your inner urgency. Most people operate from a place of social anxiety. They enter interactions already worried about how they will be perceived. This anxiety speeds everything up. It makes them talk faster, move faster, react faster. And all of that speed creates noise. It creates emotional static, and static repels. You need to do the opposite. You need to slow down so dramatically that it feels uncomfortable at first. Before you enter any social situation, take 3 deep breaths, not quick breaths, slow ones. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 4 counts. Breathe out for 4 counts. This is not magic. This is physiology. Slow breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It tells your body that you are safe. And when your body feels safe, your mind calms down. When your mind calms down, you stop performing. And when you stop performing, you start radiating. Here is the practice. Before you walk into a room, pause for 5 seconds. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the weight of your body. Notice the air on your skin. Then walk in with no agenda, no goal to impress, no need to be noticed. Just walk in as yourself. Fully here, fully present, not reaching for anything. This single shift will change how people receive you, because instead of feeling your anxiety, they will feel your calm. And calm is rare. Calm is attractive. Calm is power. But here is what you must understand. Calm is not passivity. Calm is not letting people walk over you. Calm is not avoiding conflict or hiding your truth. Calm is simply being so grounded in yourself that external chaos does not move you. And that kind of calm comes from one thing: not needing approval. Most people are controlled by their need for approval. They say yes when they mean no. They laugh at jokes that are not funny. They agree with opinions they do not hold. And every time they do this, they lose a piece of themselves. They teach themselves that who they are is not enough, and that belief leaks into everything they do. The next chapter addresses this directly: the cost of needing approval, and how that need destroys your presence before you even open your mouth. Chapter 3. The cost of needing approval. Every time you change yourself to be accepted, you lose power, not in a way others can measure, but in a way you feel. It happens in small moments. When you laugh at a joke that is not funny, when you agree with an opinion you do not hold, when you hide parts of yourself because you fear judgment. Each time you do this, you teach yourself that you are not enough as you are. And that belief leaks into your energy. People sense it. They do not consciously know what they are sensing, but they feel that something is off, that you are not solid, that you are adjusting yourself to fit their expectations. And this makes you forgettable, because people do not remember those who blend in. They remember those who stand firm. Approval seeking is not kindness. It is submission. It is a quiet announcement that you believe others have the right to define your worth, and once you give them that right, you become dependent on their validation. You start scanning faces for signs of acceptance. You start measuring your value by how others respond to you. And this dependency makes you weak. Not morally weak, energetically weak. Your sense of self becomes external, and anything external can be taken away. Look at how neediness shows up in your body. When you need approval, your posture changes. You lean forward slightly. You tilt your head. You smile more than necessary. Your voice rises at the end of sentences, turning statements into questions. You fill silence with words because silence feels like rejection. You mirror the other person's energy too obviously. You agree too quickly. You laugh too loudly. All of these are unconscious signals of submission, and people read them instantly. Even if they like you, they do not respect you. Because respect is only given to those who respect themselves first. And you cannot respect yourself while begging others to validate you. Think about someone you know who constantly seeks approval. How do you feel about them? You might feel sorry for them. You might feel annoyed by them. You might even feel superior to them. But you do not respect them, and you do not want to spend more time with them than necessary, because their need is exhausting. It puts pressure on you to constantly reassure them, and that pressure makes you want to escape. Now think about someone who clearly does not need your approval. Someone who is friendly but does not chase you. Someone who listens but does not agree with everything. Someone who has their own opinions and shares them without apology. How do you feel about them? You respect them. You are intrigued by them. You want to know more about them. Because their independence is attractive. It signals strength. It signals security. It signals that they know their own worth and do not need you to confirm it. The solution is not to become cold or arrogant. The solution is internal self-containment. Self-containment means you hold your own emotional center. You do not need others to make you feel stable. You do not need their agreement to feel right. You do not need their laughter to feel funny. You are a closed circuit, complete within yourself. This does not mean you do not care about others. It means you do not need them to complete you. There is a difference. When you are self-contained, you can be warm without being weak. You can be open without being desperate. You can connect without losing yourself. Here is how you begin. Start noticing every moment you adjust yourself for approval, every time you hold back a true opinion, every time you fake interest in something boring, every time you laugh harder than you feel, every time you agree when you actually disagree. Notice it. Do not judge it. Just see it. Awareness is the first step. You cannot change what you cannot see. Once you see it, you can choose differently. Not by forcing yourself to be disagreeable, but by allowing yourself to be honest. Honesty is not cruelty. Honesty is presence. It is saying what you actually think instead of what you think others want to hear. It is showing how you actually feel instead of performing an emotion. And here is what will happen. Some people will not like it. Some people will be surprised by your directness. Some people will pull away. Let them. Because those are not your people. Your people are the ones who are drawn to your realness, who feel relief in your presence because you are not pretending, who respect you because you respect yourself. These are the people worth knowing, and they will only show up when you stop trying to be everything to everyone. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This applies to approval. You have power over your need for approval. You do not have power over whether people approve of you. So stop trying to control what you cannot control. Focus on what you can control: your honesty, your integrity, your self-respect. When you focus on these, approval becomes irrelevant. You no longer need it because you already have something more valuable: your own approval. Here is a practice for building self-containment. Every morning before you check your phone or talk to anyone, sit for 5 minutes. Close your eyes, feel your body, feel your breath, and repeat this silently to yourself. I am complete as I am. I do not need anyone to validate me. I do not need anyone to approve of me. I am enough. Do not rush through this. Feel it. Let it sink into your body. Do this every day for 30 days, and watch what happens. You will start noticing your approval-seeking patterns more quickly. You will catch yourself before you adjust. You will choose honesty more often. And over time, self-containment will become your default. This is the beginning of emotional independence. And emotional independence is the foundation of charisma. But independence alone can make you isolated if you do not balance it with presence. The next step is learning how to be still, not quiet, not passive, still. And stillness, when mastered, becomes louder than anything you could ever say. That is what we explore next. Chapter 4. Stillness is louder than confidence. Most people believe that charisma is loud, that it requires energy, animation, and constant expression. They think they need to fill space with words and movement to be noticed. They are wrong. Real charisma is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not perform. It simply is. And people feel it like gravity. Confidence is often just noise. It is someone trying to convince you and themselves that they matter. Watch people who talk about how confident they are. Watch people who constantly assert their opinions. Watch people who dominate conversations. What do you feel? You feel effort. You feel insecurity dressed in volume. True power does not need to prove itself. It does not need to speak first. It does not need to speak loudest. It can sit in silence and command the room. Silence is not the absence of presence. It is the concentration of it. When you are still, people notice you more. Not because you are doing anything, but because you are not doing anything. In a world where everyone is performing, stillness becomes radical. It becomes magnetic. Think about the last time you were in a group conversation. Everyone talking over each other. Everyone trying to be heard. Everyone competing for attention. And then someone stays quiet. Not because they are shy. Not because they have nothing to say. But because they are choosing to observe. What happens? Eventually, everyone turns to them. They ask, "What do you think?" And when that person finally speaks, everyone listens, because their words have weight. They have not been wasted. They have not been scattered across meaningless chatter. When they speak, it matters. This is the power of stillness. It creates anticipation. It makes people lean toward you instead of you leaning toward them. And that shift in energetic direction changes everything. But stillness is not passivity. Passivity is stillness without presence. It is hiding. It is fear disguised as calm. True stillness is active. It is a conscious choice to hold your ground without reacting, to stay rooted while others scatter, to remain calm while others panic. Lao Tzu wrote, "The sage stays behind and is therefore ahead. He does not compete, and therefore no one can compete with him." This is not about avoiding competition. This is about operating from a different level entirely. Most people compete on the surface. They fight for attention. They fight to be heard. They fight to be liked. And all of that fighting is exhausting. The sage does not fight. He simply holds his center, and by holding his center, he becomes the point around which others orbit. This is the power of stillness. It is not about being passive. It is about being so internally anchored that you do not need to react to every stimulus. Most people are reactive. Someone says something, they respond immediately. Someone challenges them, they defend immediately. Someone ignores them, they try harder immediately. All of this reactivity leaks power, because every reaction is an admission that someone else controls your state. When you react, you give them your energy. When you stay still, you keep it. Here is a practice for cultivating stillness. The next time someone says something that would normally trigger you, pause. Do not respond for 3 full seconds. Feel the impulse to react. Feel it rise in your body. Notice where it lives, your chest, your throat, your stomach, and then let it pass. Do not suppress it. Do not fight it. Just observe it. Watch it rise and watch it fall. Then choose your response, not from emotion, but from intention. Watch what happens. The other person becomes uncomfortable, not because you are being hostile, but because your stillness creates pressure. It forces them to fill the space. It forces them to explain themselves. And in that moment, the power dynamic shifts. You are no longer reacting to them. They are reacting to you. This works in all interactions, in meetings, in arguments, in first dates, in negotiations. Stillness makes people uncertain, and uncertainty makes people reveal themselves. They talk more. They justify more. They try harder. And while they are doing all of that, you remain calm. You remain centered. You remain in control. Here is another practice. The next time you are in a group conversation, challenge yourself to speak 50% less than you normally would. Do not force it. Do not withdraw. Just listen more. Observe more. Watch the dynamics. Notice who speaks over whom. Notice who seeks validation. Notice who commands respect. And when you do speak, make sure it matters. Say something true. Say something clear. And then stop talking. Do not fill the space. Do not over-explain. Say what needs to be said, and then return to stillness. You will notice something remarkable. People will start listening to you more carefully. They will start asking for your opinion. They will start deferring to you, not because you dominated, but because you did not waste their time. Every word you spoke had weight, and weight is what people remember. But here is what you must understand. Stillness without emotional discipline is just suppression, and suppression eventually explodes. You cannot fake calm. You have to build it from the inside, and building it requires something most people avoid: emotional discipline. That is what we address next. Chapter 5. Emotional Discipline, the Root of Charisma. Emotion is not the enemy. Lack of control over emotion is. Most people are ruled by their feelings. Something happens, they react. Someone insults them, they get angry. Someone ignores them, they feel hurt. Someone praises them, they feel validated. They are emotional puppets, and everyone around them can see the strings. Charisma requires emotional discipline, not suppression, not denial, discipline. The difference is critical. Suppression is pushing emotion down and pretending it does not exist. This creates internal pressure. It makes you brittle. It makes you tense. It makes you explode at unexpected moments. Discipline is feeling the emotion fully and choosing how to respond to it. It is space between stimulus and reaction. It is freedom. Most people do not have this space. They are stimulus response machines. Someone presses a button. They react in a predictable way. This makes them easy to manipulate, easy to control, easy to dismiss. If I can predict your emotional reactions, I can control you. If I know that ignoring you will make you chase, I have power over you. If I know that criticizing you will make you defensive, I can destabilize you whenever I want. If I know that praising you will make you eager to please, I can use you. Emotional discipline removes this vulnerability. When you are disciplined, you do not react predictably. You feel the emotion, you acknowledge it, and then you choose what to do with it. This is internal sovereignty. And internal sovereignty is the root of charisma. Think about someone you know who is emotionally reactive. Someone who gets angry easily. Someone who takes everything personally. Someone whose mood shifts based on how others treat them. How do you feel around them? You feel like you have to manage them. You have to be careful with your words. You have to walk on eggshells. And this is exhausting. You cannot relax around them because their emotional state is unstable, and instability is draining. Now think about someone who is emotionally stable, someone who remains calm under pressure, someone who does not take things personally, someone whose mood is consistent regardless of external circumstances. How do you feel around them? You feel safe. You feel like you can be honest. You feel like you can relax. And this is magnetic. People are drawn to emotional stability because it is rare. Most people are storms. And storms are exhausting to be around. You need to become the calm, not the storm. Seneca wrote, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." Most people create their own suffering by reacting emotionally to things that do not require an emotional response. Someone is rude to them, they get angry. But the anger does not change the rudeness. It only makes them suffer more. Someone rejects them, they feel devastated. But the devastation does not change the rejection. It only makes them weaker. Emotional discipline means you feel the emotion without being controlled by it. You notice, I am feeling anger, but you do not become the anger. You notice, I am feeling sadness, but you do not become the sadness. There is you and there is the emotion. And when you create this separation, you gain power. Here is the method for building emotional discipline. When you feel a strong emotion rising, do not act on it immediately. Name it first. Say to yourself, I am feeling anger. I am feeling fear. I am feeling shame. I am feeling anxiety. Naming the emotion creates distance from it. It reminds you that you are not the emotion. You are the one experiencing the emotion, and if you are experiencing it, you can observe it. Once you name it, feel where it lives in your body. Is it in your chest, your throat, your stomach? Is it hot or cold, tight or loose? Breathe into that place. Do not try to make it go away. Just feel it. Let it move through you. Emotions are energy in motion. When you allow them to move, they pass. When you resist them, they stay. When you suppress them, they grow. So do not resist. Do not suppress. Just feel. After you have felt it fully, ask yourself this question. What does this emotion want me to do? Usually it wants you to react, to defend, to attack, to withdraw, to explode. And then ask a second question. Is that response aligned with who I want to be? If the answer is no, choose a different response, not a fake one, but a considered one. A response that comes from your values, not from your emotion. This is emotional discipline. It is not about being emotionless. It is about being emotionally intelligent. It is responding instead of reacting. It is choosing instead of being controlled. Let me give you an example. Someone insults you in a meeting. Your first impulse is to defend yourself, to attack back, to prove them wrong. This is the reactive response. But if you practice emotional discipline, you pause. You feel the anger rising. You name it. Anger. You notice where it lives in your body. Your chest is tight. You breathe into it. You let it move. And then you ask, what does this anger want me to do? It wants me to lash out, to defend, to fight. Is that aligned with who I want to be? No. I want to be calm. I want to be grounded. So you choose a different response. You stay silent for a moment. You look at the person calmly, and you say something like, "I see we have different perspectives on this." And then you move on. No defense, no attack, just acknowledgement and redirection. What have you done? You have kept your power. You have not given them the satisfaction of seeing you rattled. You have shown everyone in the room that you cannot be destabilized. And that display of emotional control is far more powerful than any verbal comeback. This is how you build charisma, not by being the loudest or the cleverest, but by being the calmest, the most grounded, the most emotionally disciplined. And when you master this, you gain something rare: controlled warmth. Most people are either warm and weak, or strong and cold. They do not know how to be both. But warmth without strength is neediness, and strength without warmth is cruelty. The goal is integration, to be strong enough that you do not need anything from others, and warm enough that they feel safe around you. That combination is devastating. It is rare, and it is the next level of presence. That is what we explore next. Chapter 6. Warmth without weakness. Warmth is not weakness, but most people make it weak. They confuse kindness with submission. They confuse openness with neediness. They smile too much, agree too quickly, and apologize for taking up space. And then they wonder why people walk over them. The problem is not warmth. The problem is warmth without boundaries, warmth without self-respect, warmth that comes from fear rather than choice. When you are kind because you are afraid of conflict, that is not kindness, that is cowardice. When you are agreeable because you need to be liked, that is not agreeableness, that is desperation. True warmth comes from strength. It is a choice made from a position of power, not fear. You are kind because you choose to be, not because you are afraid of what happens if you are not. And people feel the difference. Here is the distinction. Weak warmth seeks to avoid rejection. It says yes when it means no. It laughs at jokes that are not funny. It tolerates disrespect to keep the peace. It gives endlessly without receiving. It sacrifices itself to make others comfortable. It bends to avoid breaking. Strong warmth holds boundaries. It says no without guilt. It corrects people who cross lines. It walks away from interactions that do not serve it. It gives freely, but not desperately. It makes others feel good without making itself small. It bends when it chooses to, but never when forced. The first is pleasing. The second is magnetic. People respect strength, even when wrapped in warmth, especially when wrapped in warmth, because strong warmth is rare. It signals that you are secure enough to be open, but grounded enough to close when necessary. This is the energy of a leader, not someone who dominates, but someone who stabilizes, someone people feel safe around because they know where they stand. There is no uncertainty, no hidden resentment, no passive aggression, just clarity. Here is how you embody this. First, establish your non-negotiables. What behaviors will you not tolerate? What treatment will you not accept? What lines will you not allow people to cross? Write them down if you need to, not to be rigid, but to be clear. When you know your boundaries, you do not have to think about them. You enforce them automatically. For example, maybe one of your non-negotiables is respect. You will not tolerate being spoken to with contempt. You will not tolerate being interrupted repeatedly. You will not tolerate being dismissed or belittled. When you know this clearly, you can enforce it calmly. Second, practice saying no without explanation. Most people over-explain their no. They justify. They apologize. They give 10 reasons why they cannot do something. This weakens the no. It turns it into a negotiation. Instead, say no clearly and move on. No, I cannot do that. No, that does not work for me. No, I am not interested. Clean, direct, final. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your no. And when you stop giving explanations, people stop pushing. Third, correct people when they disrespect you. Not aggressively, not emotionally, calmly. Most people let small disrespects slide because they do not want to seem sensitive. But small disrespects, when tolerated, become large ones. If someone interrupts you, stop talking and wait. When they finish, say calmly, "I was not done." Then continue. If someone speaks to you with contempt, address it. That tone is not acceptable. If someone violates a boundary, name it. I told you I do not discuss this topic. Do not do this with anger. Do not do it with hurt. Do this with calm authority, like you are simply stating a fact. Because you are. When you correct without emotion, people rarely push back. Because you are not giving them anything to fight against. You are just holding your ground. And ground that is held calmly is almost impossible to take. This does not make you cold. It makes you trustworthy. Because people know they can be honest with you. They know you will not collapse if they disagree. They know you will not punish them for having boundaries of their own. And this creates real connection, not connection based on people-pleasing, but connection based on mutual respect. Here is a powerful reframe for your interactions. Stop trying to make everyone comfortable. Start being someone around whom the right people feel comfortable. There is a difference. The first requires you to adjust constantly, to read the room and shape yourself to fit it, to sacrifice your truth for temporary peace. The second requires you to be consistent, to show up as yourself and let people adjust to you, to trust that the right people will appreciate your truth. This is silent leadership. Leadership is not about being in charge. It is about being so grounded that others naturally follow. It is about setting a tone through your presence, not your words. It is about making people feel safe because you are unshakable. When you combine warmth with strength, you become this person. You are approachable but not pushover. You are kind but not weak. You are open but not desperate. And people feel this balance. They feel that they can come to you, but they cannot use you. They feel that you care about them, but you do not need them. This is the energy that builds real relationships. Not transactional ones, not superficial ones, real ones. But there is a trap here, a trap most people fall into. They learn to hold boundaries and suddenly they become rigid. They learn to stop people-pleasing and suddenly they become cold. They overcorrect. They go from being too warm to being too closed. And in doing so, they lose the very thing that made them attractive. Balance is everything. You must be able to open and close, to be warm when it serves and firm when necessary, to flow between strength and softness without losing yourself in either. This is mastery, and mastery takes time. But there is something else you need to understand, something most people never learn, why trying to be liked makes you forgettable. And why the opposite, accepting that some people will not like you, makes you unforgettable. That is where we go next. Chapter 7. Why trying to be liked makes you forgettable. There is nothing more repellent than someone who needs to be liked. You can feel it the moment they enter a room, the way they scan faces for approval, the way they adjust their energy to match whoever they are talking to, the way they perform interest in things they do not care about. It is desperate, and desperation is forgettable. People do not remember those who try to please everyone. They remember those who do not care if they are pleased or not. This is the paradox of likability. The more you try to be liked, the less likable you become. Because trying reveals insecurity, and insecurity kills attraction. Think about the people you remember. The ones who left an impression. Were they the ones who agreed with everything you said? Were they the ones who laughed at all your jokes? Were they the ones who mirrored your opinions? No, they were the ones who challenged you, the ones who disagreed when they felt like it, the ones who did not adjust themselves to make you comfortable. They had edges, and edges are memorable. Most people are smooth. They have sanded down every rough part of themselves to avoid friction, and in doing so, they have become bland. They have become interchangeable. They have become forgettable. You do not need to be liked by everyone. You need to be remembered by the right ones. And the right ones are not attracted to agreeableness. They are attracted to authenticity, to realness, to someone who stands for something instead of bending for everything. This does not mean you should be abrasive. It does not mean you should go out of your way to be contrarian. It means you should stop performing, stop adjusting, stop people-pleasing, and start showing up as you actually are. Here is what will happen. Some people will not like you. They will find you too intense, too direct, too much. Let them go. They were never your people. Your people are the ones who are drawn to your edges, who respect you for not bending, who feel relief around you because you are not pretending. These are the people worth knowing, and they will only show up when you stop trying to be everything to everyone. There is a concept in physics called resonance. When two frequencies match, they amplify each other. When they do not match, they cancel each other out. The same is true for people. When you are yourself, you resonate with those who match your frequency. When you perform, you create a false frequency, and false frequencies attract false connections. People who are drawn to your performance, not to you. And the moment you stop performing, they leave, because they were never connected to the real you. They were connected to the version you thought they wanted. So the question is this: do you want shallow connections with many people, or deep connections with the right people? If you want depth, you have to stop performing. You have to risk being disliked. You have to accept that not everyone will understand you, and you have to be fine with that. This is the mindset shift. From seeking universal approval to cultivating selective magnetism. Selective magnetism means you are not for everyone, and you do not try to be. You are specific, you are clear, you are unapologetic, and because of that, the people who are meant for you find you easily. They recognize you, they feel you, and they stay. Nietzsche wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe." This is true now more than ever. The tribe wants you to conform, to smooth your edges, to be palatable to everyone. But palatability is not the same as memorability. When you conform, you disappear. When you stand out, you are remembered. And being remembered is more valuable than being liked. Here is a practice. For the next 7 days, commit to radical honesty in your interactions. Not cruelty, not rudeness. Honesty. Say what you actually think instead of what you think people want to hear. Share your real opinions instead of agreeable ones. Express your actual preferences instead of going along with the group. And notice what happens. Some people will pull back. Let them. Some people will argue with you. Engage if it serves you. Disengage if it does not. Some people will respect you more. Pay attention to these people. At the end of 7 days, evaluate. Did the quality of your connections improve or decline? Most people find that they lose quantity but gain quality. Fewer connections but deeper ones. Fewer people around them but the right people. This is the trade-off, and it is worth it every single time, because authentic gravity repels some and attracts the right ones, and the right ones are all that matter. But authenticity without presence is just noise. You can be real and still be ignored if you do not know how to carry that realness. Presence is the vehicle through which authenticity is felt. And presence, when understood correctly, becomes the language of power. That is what we explore next. Chapter 8. Presence is the language of power. Words are weak. Presence is strong. You can say all the right things and still be ignored. You can stay silent and command the room. The difference is not in what you say. It is in what you are. Presence is not something you do. It is something you embody. It is the weight of your attention, the density of your awareness, the gravitational pull of your energy. And it is the most powerful language you will ever learn. Most people do not have presence. They have noise. They talk constantly. They move frantically. They fill every silence with words because silence makes them uncomfortable. And all of this activity scatters their energy. It makes them light, forgettable, easy to dismiss. Presence is the opposite. It is stillness. It is slowness. It is the refusal to rush or react or fill space unnecessarily. And when you have it, people feel you before you speak. Here is the secret. Presence is created by where you place your attention. Most people place their attention outward. They are thinking about how they are being perceived, what others think of them, whether they are making a good impression. This outward focus makes them anxious, and anxiety kills presence. You need to place your attention inward, not in a self-absorbed way, but in a grounded way. Feel your body, feel your breath, feel the weight of your feet on the floor. When your attention is internal, you stop performing. And when you stop performing, you start radiating. Here is the practice. Before you enter any interaction, take 3 deep breaths. Not quick breaths, slow ones. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 4 counts. Breathe out for 4 counts. This grounds you. It brings you into your body. It pulls your attention out of your head and into the present moment. Then, as you enter the interaction, focus on feeling instead of thinking. Feel the air on your skin. Feel the sounds around you. Feel the presence of the other person. Do not think about what to say next. Do not plan your responses. Just be here, fully. This creates presence, because presence is simply full attention, and full attention is rare. Most people are half present. They are listening while thinking about what they will say. They are looking at you while thinking about something else. They are physically there, but energetically absent. When you are fully present, people feel it. They feel seen. They feel heard. They feel like you are actually with them. And this feeling is magnetic. Now, combine presence with pacing. Most people rush. They talk fast. They move fast. They want to get to the point quickly. This creates a sense of urgency, and urgency repels. Slow down. Speak slower than feels natural. Pause between thoughts. Let silence sit for a moment before you respond. This does 2 things. First, it makes people lean in. They have to pay attention to catch what you are saying. Second, it makes your words heavier. When you speak slowly, each word carries more weight. People remember what you say because you did not waste their time with filler. Here is the key. Pauses are power. Most people fear silence. They fill it immediately with nervous chatter. But silence, when held with presence, creates tension. And tension creates interest. The next time you're in conversation, try this. After someone finishes speaking, wait 2 seconds before you respond. Just 2 seconds. Feel the space. Let it breathe. Then speak. Watch what happens. The other person becomes more engaged. They lean forward. They focus harder. Because you have created anticipation, you have made your words valuable by not giving them away too quickly. This is how you command a room without dominating it. You do not speak over people. You do not talk the most. You simply speak with intention, with weight, with presence. And people listen. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine you are in a meeting. Someone asks your opinion on a project. Most people respond immediately. They rush to fill the space with their thoughts. They talk fast, trying to say everything at once, and their words have no weight. Now imagine you do this instead. Someone asks your opinion. You pause for 2 seconds. You look at them calmly. Then you speak slowly. I think there are 3 things we need to consider here. Pause. First, the timeline is unrealistic given our current resources. Pause. Second, we have not addressed the potential risks. Pause. Third, we need clearer success metrics before we move forward. Then you stop talking. What have you done? You have made every word count. You have created space around your ideas. You have shown confidence not through volume, but through control. And everyone in that room will remember what you said. This is the language of power. Not loud, not fast, not aggressive. Calm, measured, intentional. Here is another practice. Record yourself having a conversation, then listen back. Notice how often you use filler words. Like, you know, actually, basically. These words dilute your presence. They make you sound uncertain. Practice eliminating them, not by replacing them with other words, but by replacing them with pauses. When you feel the urge to say, pause instead. When you want to say like, pause instead. Silence is always better than filler. Over time, your speech will become cleaner, more direct, more powerful, and people will feel the difference. But presence without purpose is just performance. The final evolution of charisma is not just being present. It is being present while needing nothing. That is the energy of someone who needs nothing. And that is what we explore next. Chapter 9. The energy of someone who needs nothing. The most attractive energy in the world is the energy of someone who needs nothing from you. Not your approval, not your validation, not your attention. Nothing. This is rare. Almost everyone you meet needs something. They need you to like them. They need you to agree with them. They need you to make them feel important. And that need leaks out of them in every interaction. You feel it, and it makes you tired. Now think about the few people you have met who do not need anything. They are friendly, but they do not chase. They are warm, but they do not cling. They engage, but they do not demand. How do you feel around them? You feel free. You feel like you can be yourself. And because of that freedom, you want to be around them more. This is the paradox of attraction. The less you need, the more people want to give. The more you need, the more people want to withhold. Neediness repels. Self-sufficiency attracts. But self-sufficiency is not the same as isolation. Isolation is running away from connection because you are afraid of needing. Self-sufficiency is being open to connection while being complete without it. There is a difference. One is fear, the other is freedom. Most people confuse detachment with coldness. They think that not needing means not caring. But that is not detachment. That is avoidance. True detachment is caring deeply while knowing you will be fine either way. It is investing fully while not depending on the outcome. It is connecting without clinging. This is the energy of someone who needs nothing. They are fully engaged, fully present, fully open, and simultaneously they are complete within themselves. They do not need you to validate their worth. They already know it. They do not need you to make them happy. They already are. They do not need you to complete them. They are already whole. And because they do not need these things, they can give freely, without expectation, without resentment, without keeping score. Epictetus wrote, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This applies to social interactions. True social wealth is not having many connections, it is needing few validations. When you need nothing, you already have everything. And people feel this abundance. They feel that you are not pulling on them. And that absence of pull creates space for them to move toward you. Here is the practice for internal independence. Start by noticing every time you look for validation, every time you check someone's reaction, every time you adjust your behavior based on how someone responds. Notice it. Then ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I do not get this validation? Usually the answer is some version of, I will feel worthless, I will feel rejected, I will feel alone. Feel that fear fully, do not run from it, sit with it, let it be uncomfortable. And then ask, can I feel worthy without this person's approval? Can I feel accepted without their validation? Can I feel connected without their attention? The answer is yes. But you have to prove it to yourself. You have to practice standing alone. Here is how. For 1 week, do not seek any external validation. Do not fish for compliments. Do not check how many likes your posts got. Do not ask people if they liked your idea. Just do things for yourself. Create for yourself. Speak for yourself. Exist for yourself. And notice what happens. At first, you will feel uncomfortable. You will feel an urge to check, to seek, to confirm. Sit with that urge. Do not act on it. Let it pass. After a few days, something shifts. You realize you are fine without the validation. You realize you do not need it as much as you thought. You realize you can feel good about yourself without anyone else confirming it. This is freedom. This is self-sufficiency. And this is what makes you magnetic. Here is what changes when you embody this. You stop chasing. You stop over-explaining. You stop trying to convince people of your value. You simply exist. And people feel the difference. They feel that you are not pulling on them. And that absence of pull creates space. Space for them to move toward you. This is influence without effort. You are not pushing. You are not selling. You are not performing. You are just being. And being, when it is grounded and complete, is enough. Think about a time when someone tried to convince you to like them. How did that feel? It felt suffocating. It felt desperate. And you wanted to get away. Now think about a time when someone was completely indifferent to whether you liked them or not. They were friendly. They engaged with you, but they clearly did not need your approval. How did that feel? It felt intriguing. It felt challenging. And you wanted to earn their approval. This is the power of needing nothing. It flips the script. Instead of you seeking their validation, they seek yours. Instead of you trying to impress them, they try to impress you. The power dynamic shifts. And it shifts because you are no longer in a position of need. But here is the final layer. It is not enough to need nothing from individuals. You must also become the kind of person that others orbit. The kind of person who stabilizes groups, who calms rooms, who anchors energy. That is what we explore next. Chapter 10. Becoming the calm center others orbit. There are people who enter a room and the energy shifts. Not because they are loud, not because they demand attention, but because they are grounded. And grounded energy stabilizes everything around it. This is the energy of a leader, not someone who controls, but someone who centers, someone who holds space while others lose themselves, someone who remains calm while everyone else panics. This is rare. Most people are reactive. When a room gets chaotic, they get chaotic. When a conversation gets tense, they get tense. When someone panics, they panic. They match the energy around them because they have no internal anchor. You cannot be this person. You must be the anchor, the one who does not match, the one who stays steady while others spiral, the one who holds the emotional center of the space. Here is what this looks like. Imagine a group conversation where tension is building. Two people are arguing. Everyone else is uncomfortable. The energy is escalating. Most people will either join the argument, try to mediate frantically, or withdraw completely. All of these responses add to the chaos. You do none of these. You stay calm. You do not react to the tension. You do not try to fix it immediately. You simply hold your ground. You breathe slowly. You speak slowly if you speak at all. and your calm becomes contagious. Because energy is contagious. When you are steady, others feel it, and they start to steady themselves, not consciously, but unconsciously. Their nervous systems recognize that someone in the room is not panicking, and that recognition creates safety. This is what leaders do. They regulate the emotional environment, not by controlling others, but by controlling themselves. When you can hold your center while everything around you is unstable, you become the point that others orient toward. They look to you for cues. And if you are calm, they calm down. If you are panicked, they panic more. Your energy sets the tone, but this only works if your calm is real. You cannot fake this. People feel fake calm. It has a brittle quality. It has a tense undertone. Real calm comes from deep internal work, from emotional discipline, from self-sufficiency, from all the things we have discussed so far. Here is the solution for becoming emotionally anchoring. First, develop a practice of returning to center. This could be breathwork, meditation, physical exercise, anything that grounds you and resets your nervous system. Do this daily, not when you need it, but before you need it. So when chaos comes, you already have the pathway back to calm. Your body knows the way because you have practiced it 1,000 times. Second, practice staying neutral in charged situations. The next time someone is upset around you, do not try to fix them. Do not match their energy. Just be present. Listen without needing to respond. Hold space without needing to fill it. This trains you to stay grounded when others are not. Third, lead by example, not by instruction. Do not tell people to calm down. That never works. Just be calm yourself, and watch how the room follows you. This is silent authority. You are not commanding. You are not directing. You are simply being so solid that others stabilize around you. And here is what happens when you embody this. People start seeking you out, not because you have answers, but because you have presence. They feel safer around you. They feel like they can bring their problems to you without you collapsing under the weight. They trust you, not because you are perfect, but because you are steady. And steady is rare. Think about the people in your life who have this quality. The ones you go to when you are stressed. The ones who make you feel calmer just by being around them. What is it about them? They do not try to fix you. They do not panic when you share your problems. They just listen. They stay present. They hold space. And that stability is healing. You can become this person, not by learning techniques, but by doing the internal work, by becoming so grounded in yourself that external chaos cannot move you. Here is a powerful practice. The next time you are in a group and the energy becomes chaotic, do this. Stop talking, slow your breathing, feel your feet on the ground, and just observe. Do not try to change anything. Do not try to calm anyone down. Just be the calm yourself. Hold that energy for 30 seconds and watch what happens. The group will start to settle, not because you did anything, but because your energy shifted the field. This is leadership, not through action, but through presence. Not through words, but through being. And when you master this, you gain something that most people never experience: silent authority. The kind of authority that does not need to announce itself. That does not need to prove itself. That simply is. But there is something you need to hear. Something harsh, something true. Most people will never feel this power, not because they cannot, but because they will not. Because it requires something most people refuse to do. That is what we address next. Chapter 11. Why most people will never feel this power. Most people will not do this work. They will read these words. They will nod along. They will agree with everything, and they will not change. not because they do not understand, but because they do not want to pay the price. The price is discomfort. The price is self-discipline. The price is facing the parts of yourself you have been avoiding for years. And most people are not willing to pay that price. They want the result without the work. They want the charisma without the internal transformation. They want the presence without the practice. And so they stay stuck. They stay invisible. They stay forgettable. And they blame external circumstances. They blame their looks, their background, their circumstances. But the truth is simpler and harder. They blame everyone except themselves for not trying. Let me be direct with you. If you are still seeking shortcuts, you will fail. If you are still hoping for a technique that requires no internal change, you will fail. If you are still looking for permission to stay comfortable, you will fail. This is not motivational. This is fact. Charisma is not a skill you learn. It is a state you become. And becoming requires destruction. You have to destroy the version of yourself that seeks approval, the version that performs for validation, the version that adjusts itself to be accepted. You have to let that version die, and most people cannot do this. Because letting go of who you have been is terrifying, even if who you have been is miserable, even if who you have been is invisible. At least it is familiar. At least it is safe. But safety is expensive. The cost of staying safe is staying small. The cost of avoiding discomfort is avoiding growth. The cost of refusing to change is remaining the same. And remaining the same, when you are unhappy with where you are, is a slow death. So ask yourself right now, are you willing to be uncomfortable? Are you willing to sit with the fear of rejection? Are you willing to face the fact that you have been leaking power for years? Are you willing to stop performing and risk being disliked? If the answer is no, stop here. Do not waste your time. Go back to seeking techniques. Go back to looking for hacks. Go back to pretending that change can be easy. But if the answer is yes, understand what you are committing to. You are committing to daily practice, to catching yourself every time you seek approval, to holding your ground every time you want to collapse, to staying present every time you want to escape. This is not a one-time decision. This is a moment-by-moment choice. Every interaction is a test. Every conversation is an opportunity to either leak or radiate. And you will fail. Many times, you will catch yourself performing. You will notice yourself seeking validation. You will realize you just spent 10 minutes trying to impress someone. And that is fine. Failure is part of the process. The question is, what do you do after you fail? Do you give up? Do you decide it is too hard? Do you go back to old patterns? Or do you notice, adjust, and try again? This is personal responsibility. No one is coming to fix you. No one is going to make you charismatic. No technique will save you. No book will transform you. Only you can do this. And you do it by choosing every single day to be the person you want to become. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. In this moment. In the next conversation you have. In the next room you walk into. That is the cost. And it is high. But the reward is higher. The reward is freedom. Freedom from needing others to make you feel worthy. Freedom from performing to be accepted. Freedom from the exhausting cycle of seeking validation. And that freedom transforms into charisma, into presence, into magnetism. But only if you are willing to walk through the fire first. Most people are not. They read about the fire. They talk about the fire. They imagine walking through the fire. But when they feel the heat, they turn back. They decide it is too hard. They decide they will try again later, and later never comes. Schopenhauer wrote, "Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see." Most people are aiming at targets everyone can see. Be liked, be accepted, be approved of. These are easy targets. and everyone is aiming at them. That is why the competition is so fierce. That is why most people fail. You need to aim at a different target, a target no one else can see. Internal sovereignty, complete self-sufficiency, emotional independence. These are invisible targets. But when you hit them, everything else follows. The likability, the acceptance, the approval. They all come as byproducts of hitting the invisible target. But most people will never aim at what they cannot see. They will keep aiming at what everyone else is aiming at, and they will keep missing. The final question is, what happens when you do the work? What happens when you integrate all of this into your being? What happens when charisma becomes unconscious? That is what we explore in the final chapter. Chapter 12, Radiating Without Thinking. There is a stage beyond technique, a stage where you stop trying and start being, where charisma is no longer something you do, it is something you are. This is embodiment, and embodiment only comes after repetition, after practice, after failing and adjusting and trying again 1,000 times. You cannot think your way into embodiment. You have to live your way into it. In the beginning, everything is conscious. You remind yourself to breathe. You catch yourself seeking approval. You force yourself to slow down. And this feels mechanical. It feels like effort. That is normal. That is the learning phase. Every skill goes through this phase. When you first learn to drive, you think about every movement. Check the mirror. Signal. Turn the wheel. Check the blind spot. It is exhausting, but if you continue, something shifts. The movements become automatic. You stop thinking about them. You just drive. The same thing happens with charisma. If you practice these principles long enough, they become automatic. You stop reminding yourself to be present because you are present. You stop catching yourself seeking approval because you no longer seek it. You stop forcing yourself to slow down because slow has become your natural pace. This is when charisma becomes effortless, not because it requires no effort, but because the effort has been internalized. It is no longer something you think about. It is something you embody. Here is what this looks like. You walk into a room and you do not think about your presence. You just have it. You enter a conversation and you do not monitor how you are being perceived. You just engage. You face a challenge and you do not remind yourself to stay calm. You just are calm. This is freedom, and this is power. But embodiment requires integration. Integration means taking everything you have learned and collapsing it into one state of being. You do not think about emotional discipline separately from presence. You do not think about stillness separately from warmth. You do not think about independence separately from connection. It all becomes one thing, one energy, one way of being. And that way of being is simply this. You are grounded, you are complete, you are present. You need nothing. You radiate everything. Here is the final practice. Every morning before you start your day, sit for 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Feel your body. Feel your breath. And remind yourself of who you are choosing to be. Not who you were yesterday. Not who you wish you were. Who you are choosing to be today. Grounded, not scattered. Present, not distracted. Complete, not needy. Warm, not weak. Calm, not reactive. Powerful, not desperate. Hold this vision in your body. Feel it as real. And then carry it into your day. Do this every day. Not because it is magic, but because it reinforces the identity you are building. And identity, when reinforced daily, becomes automatic. Over time, you will not need the reminder. You will wake up and you will already be this person, because you will have practiced it so many times that it became you. This is the goal. Not to learn charisma, but to become it. Not to perform presence, but to be it. Not to fake confidence, but to live from a place so grounded that confidence is irrelevant. And when you reach this stage, everything changes. People feel you differently. They respond to you differently. They remember you. They seek you out. They trust you. They respect you. Not because you are trying to earn these things, but because you have become the kind of person who naturally receives them. This is radiance. This is magnetism. This is charisma. And it is available to you. Not someday. Not when you are ready. Now. If you choose it. If you commit to it. If you walk the path instead of just reading about it. The work is hard. The rewards are permanent. Most people will not do it. But you are not most people. You would not have listened this far if you were. So the question is not whether you can do this. The question is whether you will. And that is something only you can answer. Let me tell you what happens when you finally embody this. When charisma becomes unconscious, you stop worrying about social interactions. You stop replaying conversations in your head. You stop analyzing what you said or did not say. Because you trust yourself. You trust that whoever you were in that moment was enough. You trust that if you made a mistake, you will adjust. You trust that if someone did not like you, they were not your person. This trust creates ease, and ease is magnetic. People feel when you are at ease with yourself, and it makes them feel at ease with you. Contrast this with someone who is constantly self-monitoring, someone who is always anxious about how they are coming across, someone who replays every interaction looking for mistakes. That anxiety is exhausting. Not just for them, for everyone around them. When you embody charisma, you become low maintenance. Not in the sense that you do not care, but in the sense that you do not need constant reassurance. You do not need people to tell you that you did well. You already know. And that self-knowledge frees others to just be around you. They do not have to manage your emotions. They do not have to walk on eggshells. They can just exist with you. And that is rare. Here is another thing that changes. You stop chasing opportunities. You stop trying to force connections. You stop pushing for outcomes. Because you know that the right things come to those who are ready. And being ready means being grounded, being complete, being magnetic. When you are these things, opportunities find you. People seek you out. Doors open without you knocking. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you have become the kind of person that life responds to. This is not mystical, this is practical. When you radiate calm, confidence and self-sufficiency, people notice. They want to work with you, they want to be around you, they want to include you, because you make things better just by being there. Your presence stabilizes, your energy elevates, your calm centers. And people feel all of this without understanding why. But here is the most important thing. You do not do any of this for them. You do it for yourself. Because living this way feels better. Because being grounded feels better than being scattered. Because needing nothing feels better than needing everything. Because radiating feels better than reaching. The charisma is not the goal. The charisma is the byproduct. The goal is internal freedom. Complete sovereignty over your own emotional state, total independence from external validation, absolute trust in your own worth. When you have these things, charisma is inevitable, because charisma is just internal order expressed outward, and when your internal world is ordered, your external world reflects it. So the final practice is not a practice at all, it is a commitment to daily self-honesty, to catching yourself when you slip, to forgiving yourself when you fail, to choosing again and again to be the person you know you can be. Some days will be easy. You will walk into rooms and feel your power. You will speak and feel your words land. You will connect and feel the resonance. Other days will be hard. You will catch yourself seeking approval. You will notice yourself performing. You will feel the old patterns creeping back. And that is fine. That is human. The difference is Now you will see it, and seeing it gives you the power to choose differently. This is the journey, not perfection, but awareness, not flawlessness, but growth, not arrival, but direction. And if you keep walking in this direction, you will become someone you do not recognize. Someone who walks into rooms and shifts the energy. Someone who speaks and people lean in. Someone who stays silent and commands attention. Someone who needs nothing and receives everything. This person has always been inside you, buried under layers of conditioning, under years of approval seeking, under decades of performance. But they are there, waiting. And every time you choose presence over performance, you uncover them a little more. Every time you choose calm over reactivity, you strengthen them. Every time you choose self-respect over approval, you become them. Until one day you realize you are not trying anymore. You are not practicing anymore. You are not performing anymore. You are just being. And being, in its purest form, is the most magnetic thing in the world. This is where technique ends and embodiment begins. This is where effort dissolves into effortlessness. This is where you stop radiating charisma and start being charisma. And when you reach this point, you will understand something profound. It was never about being liked. It was never about being impressive. It was never about being anything other than yourself, your true self, not the self that performs, not the self that seeks, not the self that adjusts, but the self that simply is, grounded, complete, present, powerful not because it demands power, but because it holds it naturally, magnetic not because it tries to attract, but because it cannot help but radiate, charismatic not because it learned charisma, but because it became aligned with its own truth. This is the end of the journey and the beginning of a completely different life. You have heard everything you need to hear. You understand the principles. You know the practices. You see the path. Now comes the part that no one can do for you. The part where you stop consuming and start becoming. The part where you close this and walk into your life differently. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. In the next interaction. In the next room. In the next conversation. There is no perfect moment. There is only this moment. And in this moment, you have a choice. You can go back to who you were. You can forget these words and return to old patterns. You can stay comfortable and stay small. Or you can decide that today is the day you stop leaking and start radiating. That today is the day you stop performing and start being. That today is the day you become the person you know you are capable of becoming. This is not about perfection. This is about direction. Every moment you choose presence over distraction, you are moving forward. Every moment you choose calm over reaction, you are becoming stronger. Every moment you choose self-respect over approval seeking, you are building power. And over time, these moments accumulate. They become your default. They become who you are. This is the transformation, not a single event, but a series of small choices that compound into a completely different way of existing. You will still feel fear, you will still feel doubt, you will still face rejection, but you will hold yourself differently through it. You will not collapse, you will not scatter, you will not leak, you will stand, grounded, present, complete, and people will feel it. They will not know why, they will not be able to explain it, but they will be drawn to you, because you will have become rare, you will have become real, you will have become someone who radiates instead of reaches, someone who commands without demanding, someone who attracts without chasing. This is what was always available to you. This is what has been waiting under all the performance and neediness and fear. Your true presence, heavy, calm, magnetic, undeniable. It was always there. You just had to clear away everything that was covering it. And now you know how. So go. Walk into your life as the person you were meant to be, not the person you thought you had to become, but the person you already are when you stop pretending to be anything else. There is nothing left to learn, only everything to embody. This is where the talking ends and the becoming begins. You are not the same person who started listening to this. Something has shifted. You have seen yourself clearly. You have seen where you leak. You have seen where you perform. You have seen where you beg for validation. And seeing is the first step. The second step is choosing. And the third step is walking, one foot in front of the other, one interaction at a time, one moment at a time, until the person you are choosing to be becomes the person you simply are. This is not motivational. This is mechanical. You practice. You fail. You adjust. You practice again. And slowly, over weeks and months, you transform. Not because you forced it, but because you chose it. Every single day. Until choosing became automatic. Until being grounded became natural. Until radiating became effortless. This is available to you right now. Not as a distant possibility, but as an immediate choice. The choice to stop apologizing with your presence. The choice to stop reaching for validation. The choice to stop performing for acceptance. And the choice to start being who you actually are. Powerful, calm, complete, magnetic, not because you try, but because you are. Charismatic, not because you learned it, but because you became it. This is the end and the beginning. Walk forward with weight. Speak with intention. Stand with ground. And watch how the world responds to someone who finally stopped asking for permission to exist. You do not need permission. You never did. You only needed to remember that.